Okay, Timo, we are back again.
Yes.
Yes, we are just myself and Courtney today. I say just, but
no.
we're here to
It's
make
good.
things personal.
We are here to make things personal.
That's in our notes today. So,
yes.
yeah. Anyway, yeah. So we want to chat about, there's a common theme amongst our series and the people we're interviewing.
Well, Zach, what if people are just joining us for the first time today?
yeah.
What is our series?
Well, On the Fringe.
It's On the Fringe.
Yeah. Is our little cheeky title, but
edgy.
Yeah, we're trying to just interview and talk to people who just don't do life normally and not according to what society asks and tells us to do.
Just outside of the mainstream. And that looks so different in like so many different ways. And it could be super extreme. It could not be that extreme at all. You know?
Yeah. So, but today we've interviewed a couple people and obviously we have more people lined up, but we just want to gather a few thoughts, I think, today, don't we?
Yeah, because, we've been interviewing people being like, oh, okay, like, why aren't you inside of the societal norm? But like, let's take a moment to breathe almost and like, okay, but what is like the societal norm? And like, why is it the norm? Like all these kind of questions you don't actually ask.
Yeah.
So basically today's topic is why are you conforming?
Oh,
just...
You love that word.
Why are you conforming?
Yeah. Anyway, but
we're all doing it.
Why do we follow the mainstream?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're going to dive into a little bit. But we actually did a bit of research.
Yeah, we're gonna blow you out of the water.
Well,
here.
let's pull it out now because we found this. Oh, my voice going funny. We found this article online and they did an experiment.
It's a study from the University of Melbourne. I want to say that properly.
Bourne?
Yeah, but if you had an Aussie accent, it'd be Melbourne?
Oh, gosh.
Anyway.
Okay.
Carry on. Courtney's not Australian. Okay, but basically, the whole idea was why do people follow what other people do? Like, why do we create this? Like, where does it come from, this idea of a social norm?
Yeah.
So basically, they did this study, okay? We're going to read a little bit of it. We'll kind of chat about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was the study, everyone. Imagine you have witnessed a man rob a bank, but then he gives the stolen money to an orphanage. Ooh, moral conflict. Do you call the police or leave the robber be so the orphanage can keep the money? Okay?
Yeah.
So that's, a predicament.
Yeah.
Then it says they posed the moral dilemma to 150 participants recruited online, but before they made their choice, guys, this is key, they also presented information about how similar participants in a previous experiment had imagined acting during the dilemma. Half of them were told that people had to imagine reporting the robber and the other half not, okay? However, they made it clear to the participants that these norms did not reflect people's preferences. Instead, the norm was said to have occurred due to some faulty code in the experiment that randomly allocated the... So basically, like... It was an arbitrary choice. Like, okay, most people, like half the group was told, most people said that they called the police, but it was kind of like, wasn't their preference. You know what I mean? They just did it because it was kind of like an accident or whatever with the system.
Yeah.
But even though people knew that, they still, majority chose what they were told that other people had done.
Yeah. So interesting.
Even though they knew that it did not actually reflect people's actual choices.
Yeah.
It says simply telling people that many other people had been randomly allocated to imagine reporting the robber increased their tendency to favor of reporting the robber. Yeah. So basically, why do we just follow what everyone does, even when we know that people did not even mean to do that?
Yeah. We also took it to our socials.
We did.
Just to gather up more. Just to gather up more info. And we basically just asked the people, if you like. We gave them a little scenario. So we said, hypothetically, you follow along with the decision your friends made, but you don't necessarily agree with it, but it doesn't have any real consequences. So this is the hypothetical situation.
Yeah.
And we just kind of asked them, why do you do it? Do you do it because of convenience, fear of exclusion, don't think it's a big deal? We gave them a few options. I don't know what... Mine were pretty evenly spread out, but a lot of people said... actually, it's really evenly split, mine is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They're all a point or two.
Yeah. But basically, a lot of people said convenience, a lot of people said fear of exclusion, and then there were some who were just not a big deal. But
for me,
what was it like for you?
I guess my friend group, whatever, people that follow me, my audience.
Weird to say.
Weird to say.
Yeah.
Was mainly fear of exclusion, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously, because I I don't know, like probably have more of like the young woman, you know, people my age, my friends.
Yeah.
How that is like a deciding factor on if you go against
Yeah.
or if you choose not to go against the norm.
Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of times if there's no real consequences, we don't even think about it. We just kind of do what everyone else does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And I mean, that was most of what you had, right?
Yeah. And then
Votes-wise.
convenience and didn't think it was a big deal. We're kind of tied.
Okay. Cool.
So that actually would be interesting too, to like find out like
Why kind of thing.
Yeah. And like
Yeah.
the demographic, like who chose what
Yeah.
and why and
Yeah.
like what season of life are they in and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, we'll go to the next question. in a
Yeah.
minute,
We're going to
but-
do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Should we do it
in
now?
a little bit.
Okay. I just think it's just interesting to point out that it's like we follow the mainstream. I think a lot of what we're seeing with our answers and even the study is that like we're following the mainstream, nothing to do with what we actually want and think is right. Really.
Yeah. Like
It's all based off of your surroundings. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's all external.
Yeah.
And something that the study said, which we'll kind of like reference back and forth, and we
Yeah.
can also post a link to it. Because honestly, it's really,
Yeah,
it's
it
really
is
easy to
interesting.
read and
Yeah.
it's really interesting. It says one common explanation for norm conformity, love that, is that everyone else is choosing to do, like if everyone else is choosing to do one thing, it's probably a good thing to do.
Yeah. Isn't that nuts?
You're really trusting in people's like
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah. And you know, one really big thing that I that caught my eye when I was reading that was it's just the idea of like we can be so irresponsible in when we think like that. It's like when I try and make a decision on like, oh, I'm gonna buy these flights for somewhere. This is the example we're kind of giving. Really brief, but it's like, oh, I'll choose this network or company or whatever because I just know all my friends use it or my family use it, whatever, and I'll just roll with that. But it's like, I mean, such a simple example, but I don't actually look into whether I actually, like, is this good? Do they do the right stuff? Like, is this actually something that...
Is it the best flight for you?
For me, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like you're just brushing it aside and you're just making a decision. I don't know. It sounds, I don't know. Just the idea sounds so irresponsible and it's like lack of responsibility in your decision making.
What do you say? Something like you make a decision and that it goes wrong or whatever. Let's just say there are greater consequences.
Yeah.
You say, well, it wasn't my fault. I was just doing what everyone else was doing, you know? Or,
Yeah.
well, they're the most popular airline. They shouldn't have, you know,
Yeah.
stolen all my money or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to politics and things like that, though, it's like someone like me, for example, I mean, a bit different now, but I for sure was in a place where I was just, I know. Courtney has affected that slightly. I'll give her a bit of credit.
Guys, we've grown him.
Anyway, I just didn't have, I didn't know enough. Wasn't really bothered by it. It was just like, it was just very passing for me.
Yeah.
So super passive. I was like, yeah, this sounds good. Whatever. This is kind of what people are thinking.
Yeah.
But that is genuinely me, like just avoiding responsibility and just not taking ownership of it. So I think that has a huge role when we follow mainstream. It's like, yeah, just brush it aside. But
Exactly. Because
Yeah.
then, well, that's the thing. If you kind of stand on your own and you go against the mainstream and then it turns out that maybe you were wrong, which we all are sometimes.
yeah,
Then like you take that responsibility.
Yeah.
It's like almost, I feel like it's deflecting.
Yeah.
It's not just irresponsibility. It's like deflecting responsibility onto the mass
Yeah.
instead of yourself.
but also like, this is huge for me. If I'm in a group and I don't know, one of our mates are like, yeah, why don't we do this? We'll go jump off this balcony. This is such a random example.
Yeah.
Jump off this balcony, but we'll all do it together. So I'm like, okay. Because
Team building.
Yeah, well, I'm like, okay, we're all doing this together. Yeah, I'll do it, but I'd never do it by myself.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's something there that like is interesting to think
There
about.
is. And do you know what it's called? It's called self-categorization theory.
Oh, come on. What is that? What? Talk
All
to
right.
me.
Okay. Basically, it is the basic idea that people conform to the norms of certain social groups whenever they have a personal desire to feel like they belong to that group.
Right. Interesting.
And
yeah.
so when you have, like for example, in my like social media quiz or whatever we did, poll, if you will, most of my people said fear of exclusion is why they would go along because of this self-categorization theory. Like you want to categorize yourself with something.
Yeah,
And as
right.
people, we all want to belong to something.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
sense.
Yeah. But also like back to I'm banging on about this responsibility thing, but it's like
It's your favorite thing.
It is my favorite thing at the moment. But like if I was by myself, it's like, oh no, there's consequences for that. And I'm the one who's going to be taking the consequences. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to jump off this balcony. But with my friends, it's like, oh, it's
It's a memory.
a memory. It's
Well,
like,
yeah.
yeah. So what an interesting thought. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. Should we go to our last question on the,
We're going to go. Let's do
Onto
the
our
last
socials?
question.
yeah. Do you want to go first?
I would love to. So basically, this one we kind of left open-ended. And
Yeah.
it said, do you ever stop to think about whether the decisions you make are based off of what you actually believe, like, and want to choose, or if it's just what society expects of you? Like, do you actually stop to think about this?
Yeah.
And it was really interesting because I feel like most of the people that responded, I didn't get a lot, but
Yeah.
they were like, oh my gosh, I think about this all the time.
Really? Yeah.
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 Actually, our good friend Melly just said, well, that's a very loaded question. So
Wow.
you're right,
There you
Melly.
go. That's it. Nothing else.
No, that was it. You give me an answer.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I had, yeah, I don't know. I had a couple people saying stuff like, yeah, a lot of my decisions are based off of either society or just what my friends are expecting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they think about it, but
what do you do with it,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Our friend Faith as well said it's easier to go along with what society expects to avoid conflict and hurt, especially when people approach it less as an open conversation to learn, but rather to convince/argue.
Yeah.
So why would you go against the grain, if you will? Why would you try to challenge a norm if you know you're not going to actually make progress?
yeah,
You know, and because it's true, but also,
yeah, but
but then no progress is being made either. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like either way you slice it, no progress is
Yeah.
being made. You probably have a higher chance of making progress if you try
yeah,
to challenge the norm.
yeah.
But Faith, we get it. We're here. We love
hear
it.
you. I had one. It said he was like, "Yeah, all the time I think about this. As a Christian, I want to be sure that culture affecting me. I want to be sure that culture affecting me less than Christ's example is. So that was pretty cool.
That's
yeah.
cool.
So
Knowing where your morals like lie.
Yeah, and nice. Yeah, Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
Absolutely. I don't believe in that.
I don't know if that's a.
Not Jinx. I don't believe in Coke.
Okay,
Anyway,
sorry. yeah.
it doesn't exist. Anyway, moving on. I got a lot of all the times as well. My cousin Kaylee said trying to always remind myself. I'm sorry, I'm trying to shout out as many people as possible. Can
Yeah,
you tell?
you are right. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just name dropping left and right. Anyway, trying to remind yourself that going against the grain is often good. So that perspective of like,
Right.
why would we stick to the norm? Yeah.
Yeah.
And like how, like realizing how this is our friend Kara, how much of like her life, like the past of her life, that wasn't a word, past life was going with the flow.
Yeah.
You know, and just going
Yeah.
through the motions, what society has taught us.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. I like that people actually think about it. Again, that did not get very many answers on that one, but
Some good answers. Not many, but
yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so there's the other flip side of the coin.
Yeah.
Coin. Is just obviously following mainstream, and then there's going against the mainstream, which I wanted to touch on really briefly. That's not really what today's.
Yeah, because if you can't tell, we're kind of encouraging you to go against the mainstream.
Yeah.
So
But also then it's just realizing where am I going against the mainstream? Like where's that being rooted from?
Yeah.
Almost. So I feel like rebellion's a huge part of why people
Yeah.
go against the mainstream. It's not even that you're just aware of who you are and
yeah.
what you believe in and things like that, but it actually comes from a place of like
Yeah.
rejection or hurt from
Yeah.
past experience.
Because
Yeah.
obviously, like ideal world, we'd be going against the norms, not just for like the sake of it, or like,
Yeah.
oh, there's a quote. It's like controversy for controversy's sake,
Right.
like is sin, but controversy for the sake of. I don't remember.
Not sure.
Well, I'm gonna pull that up.
Cool.
You continue.
Yeah.
talking.
Well, just I think also with the idea of like coming from rejection, it's like I don't know if you don't fit in to the mainstream, and it's like okay, well, I'm just gonna go against it because that's where I feel like I'm myself almost, you know. So it's
Yeah.
like the idea of like you don't fit in somewhere, and it's like okay, well, I'm
not gonna fit in
Yeah,
anywhere.
I'm not gonna fit in and
Yeah.
just go against things. Yeah.
I found the quote. Everyone.
Go on. Go on.
I don't want to be misquoted like that. It says, controversy for the sake of controversy is a sin, but controversy for the sake of truth is a divine command. Walter Martin.
Shout out.
Not me. But just the whole idea of like, if we're just rebelling against the norms just to be controversial,
Yeah.
like that actually does not help anyone or
Yeah.
help anything. You know, it actually probably creates a lot more like chaos
Yeah.
and more problems.
Yeah.
But if you're being controversial,
Yeah.
you know, as in going against the norm, which can be quite controversial,
Yeah.
for the sake of like standing on truth, you know,
Yeah.
and bringing light to truth.
Yeah.
Like that's like our command, like our call, if you want.
Yeah.
Like,
I think, yeah. And I think we're just trying to almost be like, well, like we want people to kind of walk away and be like, yeah, like we need to question
yeah.
like what we are following, what we're deciding to do. Like we need to critically think and be like, okay, am I just following something that other people
Yeah.
are influencing me in or telling me to do? And, you know, we were talking, when we were prepping for this briefly, it was kind of like when I was working and stuff like that, I really felt like it was just, I had a job because that's what
everyone.
yeah, and even like at the ages of 16 or going into school, like you have to make decisions for your future. But it's like, what do you even know? Like you don't know what you want at those sort of ages. Like you go from 16 to 20, I don't know, 4 or 5 even, and it's like you're still figuring things out. Like you still figuring out what you like, what you enjoy, hobbies, whatever. And it's like you have to make early decisions, big decisions.
Yeah.
At ages that aren't even like, how are we capable?
You're not fully developed
Yeah,
yet.
how are we supposed to? How are we capable to make those decisions? So, I don't know. I feel like people find themselves lost early doors, and then it's this whole like you're climbing.
Then all of a sudden you're
finding your way
stuck in the
back.
cycle
Yeah.
of the mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why do people want to get a house and stuff? Like, is it because your parents are encouraging you to do that, or your friends, or it's just what everyone else around you is doing? What if I don't know. It's like actually taking time. If you want a house, that's great. Like, not dissing that at all, but you also
No.
need to be thinking about like,
Yeah, but
why are we making these
Why
decisions?
Is it just because you feel like you have to?
Yeah, is
Like
it
you
just
feel
the
like
next
you're
step in
obliged
the ladder? Like,
to? Yeah.
I don't know. Critically thinking.
We love a good critical thought.
We do.
Something else I want to touch on from the study actually is this idea called the cascade effect.
Yeah.
Basically, what it says, like, it's the idea. Okay, for example, you have 2 restaurants beside each other. This is the example that they used. One of them is filled with people, and one of them has no one in it. Which one are you going to go to?
Right.
One that's filled with people.
Yeah.
Because it's probably you'd assume better.
Mm-hmm.
But if these people, the first people to come, made that kind of same arbitrary decision without actually any like basis,
Yeah.
it's like that place might actually not be better, but just
Yeah.
everyone had the same thought. Or
Yeah.
if there's people in it, we should go.
Yeah.
You know, and just kind of that whole idea of like, yeah, going with the flow.
Well,
and like
someone
doing what
made
the
a
crowd
random
says.
choice at some point.
So now we're basing our entire lives off someone
of a random choice.
choice.
Yeah.
You know, okay, going out for dinner is
It
not
is
your
a
entire
bit of an
life.
extreme, but
yeah.
there are areas in our life.
Yeah.
I think.
And like the
that.
snowball of it.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
There's a quote from there I think you really liked, didn't you? Is that one? I think you want to.
Oh,
I'm letting you this because this is your.
Passing the iPad over. Yes, this is one common explanation for norm conformity is that if everyone else is choosing to do one thing, it's probably a good thing to do. I already read this.
Oh,
Zach.
yeah, you did. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow, that's bad.
You know what though? It drives the point home.
But I mean, I don't know if you want to carry on at
Yeah.
that little point, but it does this prove that we can be manipulated if someone convinces us something is good.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah,
if someone's
yeah,
if someone wants to make us think something is good, they can very easily do that. And if I think it's good, I'm going to go do it.
yeah,
And then if I'm doing it, you're going to go do it.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do it, Kaylee and Lucas are going to go do it. And then Josiah's going to go do it.
yeah.
And
Big
then
shout out, Josiah.
Josiah just sitting in the corner.
Yeah, watching us. But it's like who is actually playing the role of like influencing us as well? I mean, we've touched on this before in our series and stuff with the social media
And
game and
the agenda
Yeah.
like talk we had a while ago as well.
Yeah.
Like, what's the agenda? Like everything has an agenda because we are humans with biases.
yeah,
Like we are not unbiased. Like that is just not how that works.
And something that we definitely feel strongly about as well is that how much this relates to like security and insecurity and like and the whole identity. So I feel like everything ties back to identity.
Yeah.
But
it always does.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know who you are, like that changes everything
Yeah.
about how you live and how you let people treat you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is the root of a lot. If we
Yeah.
can get our identity right, like as people, as humans,
Yeah.
as mankind,
Like, who am I?
that's rhetorical, right? I don't
Yeah.
really feel like answering that, but
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not asking you that now. But that's a whole other episode. I mean,
welcome to group counseling.
But just critically thinking, that's the theme. But
Yeah.
yeah, just the idea of like, I don't know, what are the things in me that are actually me, and what are the things in me that have actually been just pushed by other people, you know?
Yeah. And I think
super interesting.
I'm trying to be controversial, not for controversial sake, but for truth's sake.
Not from rebellion.
Not because I want to be rebellious. But this is very clear in today's culture.
Yeah.
The whole like, am I allowed to talk about vaccines on here, or are we gonna get like,
crack on.
Okay.
Crack on.
I need shadow ban, but the whole thing, right? You have the super pro, super against, and both camps are convinced that they are doing the good thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's this whole idea of like, maybe does it play into humanity's savior complex as well? Like we all kind of want to be a savior.
Yeah.
So we all want to do the good thing. And so but you're convinced no matter what side you're on that you're doing the good thing, do the right thing.
Yeah.
You know, and like depending on what kind of content you're consuming, it will literally be like that. Like do the right thing and do this. You know, so you almost feel like, oh my gosh, like I have to, like, because I want to do the right thing because, you know, most people do want to contribute to society in a healthy and a good way.
Yeah.
But who's telling you that? And if both camps are being told the same thing with very different, like, outcomes, that just proves, like, the whole, like, norm conformity and who's manipulating what we think is good.
Yeah. And let's highlight just quickly, like, if there are certain areas in your life that are in the mainstream, let's call it, then that's not what's bad. That's not.
No.
It's just more like, do I actually belong in this mainstream almost?
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with being mainstream.
No, that's not.
We can be very basic, Zach and I. It's fine. Not all the time.
But yeah.
But if it aligns with your moral beliefs, if it aligns with what truth is, then go for it. Stay in that mainstream, because maybe it's mainstream because it actually is like a good value, a good principle. And I think in this day and age, we also need to be very like, it's a very postmodern world where everyone has, again, relative truth. Know what you believe in, know what truth is, and stand firm on it. And if that happens to be part of the mainstream, maybe that's actually good, because a lot of people are like focused on standing on truth.
Yeah.
You know, but like ask yourself that. Like, does this actually align with what I believe? And if not, how can I challenge it in a way that will actually bring change and not necessarily just like, I don't know, be like a fit, you know?
Yeah.
Chaos.
So, I mean, let's go into that a bit more just as we're kind of closing a little bit. So someone listening to this, they're in the mainstream.
They're in the mainstream.
I don't know, whatever that even means.
They're just conforming. It's fine. We all are.
Yeah. So what's the kind of action side of this almost? Like, I know we've touched on it, but just to kind of recap a little bit more, like, do we just question every area, or
honestly, yeah. But like before you start, like, because I feel like it's very easy to like question the system and question society, which is needed.
Yeah.
But question yourself first.
Yeah, I think it's a much more of an internal kind of
like
gig.
Yeah.
I feel
or like, what do I believe about this? And then, okay, how is it being portrayed out in society right now? Do I agree with that, or do I not agree with that?
Yeah.
You know, because you can't, that's the thing. We all just like sit around and we judge the decisions of others, or we judge the systems that we're in.
Yeah.
But we actually, like, I'm going to say it, hold no responsibility for ourselves and actually like choosing to stand on something.
Yeah. Like, question yourself, was this chosen for me?
Yeah.
Or did I genuinely choose this almost?
And if I didn't genuinely choose it, what do I actually want?
Yeah. Because subconsciously you're in areas of your life where you're like, how did I get here?
Well, that's the thing. We're already born into systems that are functioning.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, man, it's so true. Yeah.
We're just like, into the cycle.
Yeah. So it's like, is this cycle even for me? Yeah.
Is it even for you?
Isn't it nuts? I don't know.
But this is why I love this series.
Yeah.
Because then we're actually talking to people that have deliberately said this cycle is not for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
How cool is that?
And you look at someone like, let's use Zombie Punk as an example. Yeah. It's like, from the outside, you're like, man, this guy's nuts. Like, like, just kitted out with everything. And then when you actually sit down and have a chat with him, he's got like actually some kind of meaning behind his actions. It's not arbitrary. Yeah.
To use our new big word.
Yeah. And as much as you agree or disagree with him, at least he's like actually questioning kind of things a bit more, and he's critically thinking about like, I don't know, the different areas in his life,
and he's decided where he stands.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is very admirable.
Yeah, I think that's much more admirable than just following along with something. Even if you're following something for good, it's like, it's coming from a place of just
Yeah.
like a sheep. You're just following, and it's not actually like come from a place of like, yeah, okay, I agree with this. Like I stand for this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, completely.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we like settle for like, we think like fake peace. You know what I mean? Like if we don't disrupt the mainstream, that's good. That's a cohesive society. But that's like a family that like is like a perfect family, but just pushes everything under the rug, right? They don't fight, but that's because they don't actually talk about anything. You know, they don't confront one another. They don't. So it's a nice, peace, happy family, but they're not actually going deep. They're not actually dealing with anything. And I feel like a lot of times we like, okay, well, if we're not like, you know, having riots every day, or we seem to be a very kind of like chill society, no disruptions, like we're doing good, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not, you know? And I think if the past couple years have showed us anything, we're not doing okay, everyone.
Yeah.
And maybe we don't need to be just like, everyone keep your peace.
Yeah.
Because no.
Yeah. Genuinely, yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Wow. I mean, any other side notes, or I feel like, that
I know.
it's
Just
pretty
like,
good chit chat.
if anything, like really think about this.
Yeah.
Like if you have any takeaways, just like start to like question.
And it's totally totally normal and fine and whatever else. But it's important to just reflect a bit more now, I feel like.
And be aware of
Let's
it.
be responsible for what we're actually involved in.
Yeah. And I think that will as well help us like as we continue on in this series too, to really be able to like put ourselves in like, because it's so easy to keep it like, I know we said this like
hands
the
with,
first,
and like, you know, if we find people who are going against the mainstream and whatever else, and it's like, okay, like why are they there? I don't know. It just helps us kind of understand a little bit more. Like, okay, well, you know, they've actually taken responsibility. They've thought about this a bit more. Like it's not just, and
clearly
sometimes
they believe in something so strongly that they're willing to go against what everyone else is
like,
doing.
they've thought critically, you know?
Hopefully.
That's also, I mean, this isn't for everyone who's, and sometimes it comes from bad places. So it's not even condoning those kind of things, but it's more like fair play. They've actually thought about this and want to take action.
Exactly. And are willing to like pay the price for it. Do you know what I mean? Because we're not like idealist here, like, oh yeah, just go against what everyone else is doing. You're going to live a wonderful life and it's going to be beautiful and happy. And like, no, obviously if you go against the flow, there will be like tension and friction and pushback.
Yeah.
You know, but is that a cost you're willing to pay for something that you believe in?
Yeah. Is it?
You know,
question.
for a lot of those people, including myself, I voted convenience for like why I go with everyone else.
Yeah.
I was convenience because it's so much easier. Like, well, whatever, you know, maybe I'll be excluded or whatever. But like, no, just because it's easy.
Mine is defo fear of exclusion. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, he went from defo to I don't know real quick.
I need to critically think about it.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. So that's kind of a little chit chat.
Yes.
But I mean, it makes me excited to interview people because it's like trying to understand where they're coming from a bit more, you know? I don't know. Looking forward to our future guests.
Oh, we are. And I know something that we say here as well, like our unofficial motto is like having the hard conversation so you don't have to. We really do hope that you have them.
Yes, obviously.
Please have them. And hope that, you're challenged to do that. But like, actually, if you see someone that's kind of doing or making a decision or like taking a stand that seems to be outside of the mainstream or something that you don't like, that you're not doing, like ask them their intentions and like, not like a judgy way. Because we're so judgmental when people aren't doing the same things that we do.
Yeah.
Fear of exclusion.
Yeah.
We're afraid of other people judging us.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, let's not dive too deep into this.
Sorry, Zach's like, we're supposed to finish this episode now. Stop doing this. But think critically about yourself. Ask yourself the questions.
Yeah.
Ask questions about society. You know, hey, why is this happening? Why is this what I'm supposed to be doing? You know, do I actually believe in this?
Yeah.
And have empathy with other people because maybe they're questioning things too.
Yeah. Compassionate eyes.
Compassionate eyes.
That's a soft way of saying it. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
And we are looking forward to diving into it even more.
Even deeper.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you this time.
I knew this was going to happen.
Where can they find us, Courtney? Because I always get it wrong.
Yes, great question, Zach. course, you can find us at the Anchor of the Week on Instagram and on TikTok, as well as the Anchor of the Week on YouTube.
Yes.
And of course, I don't know where you're listening to this right now. Maybe you're on YouTube. And in that case, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., and so forth. That will cover all your bases. So if you're listening to us on one of those, there's bound to be another one on there that you're not on right now.
Brilliant.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Amazing.
Awesome. Yeah. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.